Now we're going to talk about types of music libraries. We've explored the concept of music libraries, and I've thrown some of these terms at you like pre-cleared music, stock music, royalty-free music. All these have different consequences of the type of music library that you might be purchasing the license to use music from. And we'll go through this step by step so that you understand. Firstly, we're going to start with what I call the traditional music libraries. We touched on earlier the concept of collection societies. In pre-internet days, when actually delivering music to an organisation that wanted to use music, i.e. you the video maker, was a more complicated process. You had to send a disc or a DVD, a CD, etc. with the music on. And if you wanted access to lots and lots of music, you would be dealing with lots and lots of different individual companies. So what the collection societies again did to make this whole transfer and use of music easier is they did group deals. So one collection society would say, we have 50 music companies who are members of our society. Our blanket rates for the use of music from any of these music libraries are as follows. If you pay those rates, you have access to that whole suite of music libraries. That worked very well and continued to work like that for the last 50, 60 years. Then along comes the internet, and suddenly these music libraries, the individual music libraries, can suddenly deal directly with their end user because they can have a site online where the end user can easily come and access the music library. So the past 5, 6, 10 years or so has seen a huge change in the way that music libraries operate and the way that they deliver music to their customers. And the way that collection societies orchestrate and manage those music libraries has also changed. There still exists the concept of music libraries that are aligned to collection societies and that do group set rates based on the rates that collection society charges. For example, in the UK, we have the organisation called the MCPS. If you take out an MCPS license, you can then get access to hundreds and hundreds of different music libraries, all for one set fee. Same concept exists in the States and all over Europe and the rest of the world. If you want to find and access music from those music libraries, you can search for the relevant collection society in that country, and then they will have simple steps on how to access those music libraries. That's what I'm calling the traditional music library. Then step forward a few years and along comes the internet, and suddenly lots of different music libraries, lots of different individual companies can license directly to the end user. And that's where we start getting these terms that we've heard before of stock music, pre-cleared music, royalty-free music, all these different terms. Now, what I'm going to broadly categorize them in is the new field of online music libraries, where you can go to a website and immediately purchase and download the music for that use. So the access to that, and the key to this, is that the access to it is immediate. You don't need to go to any other party or buy any other form of blanket license to access that music. You're just going to a website, purchasing, downloading, using the music. So what do you need to look for when you're going to do that, and what types of music libraries offer this service? Stock music, pre-cleared music, rights-free music, royalty-free music, to name but a few terms. What do these mean? Well, let's start with royalty-free music and debunk some of the myths there. Royalty-free music. We touched on earlier the concept of collection societies. Now, we talked about how the theatre owner or the broadcaster pays a royalty to a collection society. So from that, the term royalty-free music came about, where you have two types of music. The first type is where a composer or that company is not a member of any of those collection societies, therefore the use of that music is not covered by any license that that company, that broadcaster may have entered into with the theatre or the broadcaster. So in effect, using that music incurs no royalty. But to add to the complication, a lot of music libraries use the term royalty-free music to describe the fact that you as the user of that piece of music do not have to pay a royalty. So this is quite tricky, but bear with me. You can have a music library that says they are royalty-free, but they may still be a member of a collection society. Now, what does that mean? That means if you use their music and put that video that's containing the music on YouTube, then YouTube may well pay a royalty to the collection society for the use of that music. But why does the music library tell you that it's royalty-free? That's because the music library isn't charging you, and you do not pay a royalty every time that video is shown. Because, and if you remember, we have this separated concept of the collection society and the broadcaster, or YouTube, or the theatre owner. That's a transaction between them. The music library is not charging you, not making you pay a royalty there. So that's why we have this slightly confusing area of two types of royalty-free. Now, in my personal opinion, either type of royalty-free music is completely fine for you to use, because at the end of the day, you're not paying an additional royalty. And what you may find is that royalty-free music, which is indeed attached to a collection society, may be of a better quality and a more professional level than complete royalty-free music. And the reason being is that generally, if you're a professional composer, you attach yourselves to a collection society so that you can generate a secondary income stream from the royalties. And if you're really trying to make a living out of music and you're a real professional composer, then you're going to naturally do that because it increases your income stream. So don't be put off by this whole area of collection societies, and don't be worried about only using royalty-free music. What you have to look at is the use of royalty-free music in the context of how you're using it.